Welcome back, my students, to another episode of Comic Class. And in today's video, guys, I'm going to be doing my first proper versus scenario on this channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at 5 different superheroes that I handpicked to take on Eren's The Rumbling scenario. And yeah, basically seeing who could stop the rumbling from Attack on Titan's manga. And yeah, so this should be a pretty interesting video. Now, before we get started, I do want to mention some things. First of all, I'm not going to be doing superhero teams such as the Justice League or Avengers, because that would literally be overkill, for Eren. So we're just going to do the single heroes and see if these 5 heroes that I picked have the skills and the tools necessary to stop the rumbling after it's activated. And yeah, this should be a pretty interesting video. If you're actually interested at the end of this video seeing other versus scenarios between anime and manga and comic books, or maybe just comic books in general, such as the Hulkbuster versus the Justice Buster, which will make an appearance, both of them, in this video. Little spoiler alert for who might be in this video. But yeah, without further ado, guys, let's jump right into this video. Let's get started. Let's go. So the first hero we're going to be taking a look at is our boy Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And yeah, I think Iron Man was a pretty good choice to take on Eren's rumbling event, because Iron Man has the smarts, he has the tools to take on an event of this level. And yeah, so before we go forward with explaining how Iron Man would take down the rumbling, I think it's important to talk about how we stop the rumbling in general. Now, there's 2 ways to stop the rumbling. Number 1 would be to kill Zeki and trying to find his body in Eren's giant attack titan form, his final form, which could prove to be a mighty feat for Iron Man. Or number 2, he actually attacks Eren directly and takes him out, basically, which is very possible as well. Of course, that would be the way easier option, because finding Zeki would require him to, go through Eren's entire body, whereas attacking Eren's head seems like the more plausible option. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into the ways Iron Man would defeat this. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is Iron Man's strength. Now, Iron Man can fight in his normal armor, or he can use something like the Hulkbuster, but let's talk about his normal armor first. Now, Iron Man has the ability of the plasma beams, or I'm not sure if they're called plasma beams, or his arc reactor beams, but basically this is a very devastating attack. It's able to take on some of the most mighty Marvel heroes that definitely have more defensive power than a Colossal Titan. So him being able to fight the likes of Thor, which we have seen in comics, in not like ridiculous armor at all times, really shows that Iron Man has the defensive capability of tanking any attack that the Colossal Titan might do, but also that he can hit harder than the Colossal Titan could do in his normal base armors. Now, Iron Man, not only does he have the arc reactor beams, but he's able to shoot multiple beams at once. So we've seen this in the movies, we've seen this in the cartoons, and we've seen this in the comics. So Iron Man being able to lock onto the napes, or the back of the neck of the Colossal Titans at once, is very possible and will probably happen. The second thing we need to keep in mind is Iron Man's speed. Now, Iron Man not only can shoot multiple plasma beams, like I said, and actually target the napes of the Colossal Titans, taking out multiple at once, but we have to look at the speed advantage that Iron Man actually has. Iron Man can fly into space with his suits, and I mean, to get into space itself requires you to go thousands of miles per hour, and there's no way that the Colossal Titan is even close to that speed. So yeah, speed-wise and power-wise, Iron Man takes the cake. And this is not, including the Hulkbuster, which takes on the likes of the Incredible Hulk, which at one point in the comics held an entire mountain on his back, or half a mountain, in the Secret Wars story arc Go check that out if you want to. It's a pretty memorable Hulk feat, probably one of the most well-known Hulk feats of all time, and the Hulkbuster is taking that on. I'm not sure in what period the Hulkbuster was created, but the fact is the Hulk is actually very consistent with his strength in the comic books, and the Hulkbuster is able to take him on toe-to-toe. Maybe not beat him all the time, but still going toe-to-toe with the Hulk is a way bigger feat than anything the Colossal Titan could possibly use to damage Iron Man. Its strength, and it's just not happening. Iron Man is not going to get defeated by a Colossal Titan. Now, when it comes to the fact of taking down Eren or Zeki, Iron Man is a genius. I don't think this needs to be said. For most people I've watched the Marvel movies, they kept that pretty much intact. So Iron Man would definitely be able to find Zeki, and if not, like I said, it's pretty easy to know that Eren's head is his weak spot. And considering that Iron Man fights against people like Thor with his arc reactor beams, that's definitely cutting off Eren's head and getting into that head before the skeleton thingy or whatever it's called, the thing of Ymir actually connects again, like we saw in the latest chapter of Attack on Titan, would be no problem for someone like Tony Stark, who's moving thousands of miles per hour. It's pretty much a wash when it comes to the rumbling event when we talk about Iron Man. But I think that's enough for Iron Man. Let's jump into our next hero, and so the next superhero I have on my list is someone that, people think is a joke, but he really isn't, and that is Aquaman. And Aquaman has a lot of great feats that definitely show that he could actually take on the rumbling. And so let's jump right into this. Let's talk about his strength first. So Aquaman has some really interesting strength feats. Now, granted, Aquaman gets stronger when he's in the water, so that does need to be taken into consideration. But, considering that, it depends on how you want to put this scenario, if the rumblings happening in modern times, or if Aquaman is in the Attack on Titan world, this would go differently in both, situations. But let's say that, he is in the Attack on Titan world and give Eren the advantage. Aquaman would be able to use the water that's all around Paradise and where the rumbling is taking place in the beginning to kind of have a ridiculous advantage. Now, Aquaman was able to carry an entire building from collapsing basically on top of these people. And I don't think I need to put out any numbers for you to understand that a building is a ridiculous amount of weight. And this is Aquaman, doing this. Basically showing that he has a ton of lifting strength and could lift a Colossal Titan. If that wasn't enough for you, we also get to see that Aquaman has flung a submarine from the water into, out of the water, basically. Now, while researching for this, I found out that there's an Ohio-class submarine that basically is about 16,000 tons. Now, I don't know exactly how much a submarine usually weighs, but that seems about accurate to what I can imagine it being. So let's say it's around that area. That's a ridiculous amount of weight, and definitely feel that if he's able to do this with a giant metal submarine, he definitely could be able to at least push Colossal Titans around. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Leave a comment down below if you know the exact weight of a Colossal Titan. Now let's talk about his speed. Now, Aquaman constantly fights against people like Black Manta, who uses a beam of energy. I think they're called his eye beams or something. Is constantly able to dodge these, and occasionally will take a hit from these, but not be damaged enough to actually, be hurt beyond repair. And it's just a really cool thing to see that Aquaman, again, most of these panels that you see, he is near water, so that is important. But considering, like I said, depending on the occasion that we're talking about, Paradise and the islands around it are surrounded by water, so it really wouldn't matter. And in our world, a huge percentage of water as well. Most of it is water, so it really wouldn't matter which situation. He's still going to have an advantage when it comes to using his abilities. Now, Aquaman most notably is known not for his super strength or his super speed, but the ability to use a sea life to aid him into battle, such as whales, dolphins, and sharks. And this ability is going to come in handy like ridiculous, because if you don't remember, when the rumbling first started, the Colossal Titans had to move through the water to get to Marley. So yeah, this is important because that means that Aquaman uses sea life to actually take on the Colossal Titans before they even reach the land, which is a huge advantage to Aquaman. Now, Aquaman is able to fight, as I said, super powered beings, but that's not his greatest advantage on why I put Aquaman on this list of 5 heroes to take on the Rumbling. His greatest feat to me that I found, and I had actually just covered this series, the JOA Grant Morrison run, has this awesome feat with Aquaman moving 20,000 feet basically in a few seconds or something like that. And yeah, that's a ridiculous speed feat in the water. And Aquaman did sustain damage, but that's because he went all the way to the surface. He wouldn't need to do this, in a battle scenario with the Colossal Titans that take on Eren's Rumbling. So yeah, Aquaman would literally speed blitz any of the Colossal Titans that were in the water, as we saw in the manga. If that were to happen, maybe things are different. But if we take the way events went in the manga, Aquaman would have a clear advantage against, the Colossal Titans that are in the water. So yeah, and when it comes to Eren and Zeki, like I said, Aquaman would be able to use Sea Life to get, to take on Colossal Titans. So that would leave Aquaman to be able to fight against Eren and Zeki. Now, like I said, Aquaman fights against superpowered people all the time. And the reality is the Colossal Titan and the rest of the, Titans in general, the ones that Eren, can use and was using to fight against his friends of Paradise in the final few chapters, just wouldn't be able to compare to the amount of, opponents that Aquaman has actually fought. And Aquaman's pretty fast as well, being not as fast as people like the Flash or Superman, but fast enough that he would literally speed blitz any of the Titans. And like I said, even if that weren't the case, his physical power alone, to fight against the likes of superpowered people, like Superman, not that much, but to be able to, at least trade a little bit of blows with him and Wonder Woman as well on some occasions, really shows that Aquaman isn't a person to mess with. And he definitely could hold his own against the Rumbling and possibly take it down. Now, I will say, out of all the 5 that I'm going to be mentioning here, I do think Aquaman has the hardest time defeating Eren and finding Zeki. So, and defeating him because, like I said, his main advantage is using water. So he will be a little bit of a disadvantage when he gets out of the water, but I think his physical power and his speed still out of the water is still surpassing those of the Colossal Titan and the rest of the Titans that Eren's able to use in his attack Titan form. And yeah, but we'll see. Let me know down below what you think about Aquaman. If you're a person that's read the Aquaman comics and you have more feats that I didn't even talk about, leave them down below to, just show how strong Aquaman is. And how fast he is and just how cool he is. He's a very underrated superhero. So the next superhero that we're going to be talking about is Spider-Man, Marvel's flagship superhero. And yeah, I bet a lot of people are surprised for Spider-Man to be on this list, but he's very underrated in his strength and his speed, and I'm here to explain why he has a good chance of stopping Eren's Rumbling event. So yeah, so Spider-Man, let's talk about his strength first. Now, Spider-Man is able to, knock out T-Rexes casually, not even trying, knocking them out with one punch. Now, I don't think I need to explain how big and how much weight a T-Rex actually is. And for someone like Spider-Man to knock him out casually, or knock it out, I guess I should say, is a huge feat. Not only that, but Spider-Man in Nick Spencer's run, which is the Spider-Man that I'm going to be using, basically, takes a chunk out of a Tri-Sentinel, basically a Sentinel, which is highly durable, gets completely destroyed, part of it, by Spider-Man using just punches. I mean, that's crazy. Not only that, but we also have Spider-Man, when he's being controlled by Dr. Octopus, not holding back, taking off the jaw of the Scorpion. Now, this is, a different version of Spider-Man, or I guess I should say a different run. It's not really a different version, I think. But yeah, this is when Dr. Octopus was taking control of Spider-Man. But the point of this scene while he was in there was to show how Spider-Man holds back on all of his villains. Now, getting back to Nick Spencer though, Nick Spencer's run has another great feat. Is Spider-Man fighting a guy called The Big Man, which, if you're familiar with Spider-Man comics, actually read the original 1960s run by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. This was a huge villain. And basically this version isn't really him, it's like a giant robot. And yeah, it's basically taking a ton of hits on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is heavily damaged from this. But even despite that, he basically grabs the Big Man when it's self-destructing and basically hurls it into the sky. And remember, this is him when he's like, you know, massively bloody, has a ton of damage, and he's still able to lift this guy all the way into the sky so that no one gets killed, you know, due to this. And we have to look at the background. This guy is towering over towers in New York, and he's not even standing up straight. Now, looking up the way, you know, how tall towers are in New York, it's implied that they can be up to 1,000 feet or over 1,000 feet in height. Now, I don't want to overplay this, and I guess you say highball or even lowball it. So let's say it's around 600, 700 feet. That's ridiculous. Like, you know, something like this proved to me that from a strength standpoint, Spider-Man is definitely going to be able to use his webs to literally just knock over the Colossal Titans. Like, they're nothing, basically. Because remember, Spider-Man wasn't even at full power, full strength when he did this. He had took massive hits before he did this feat. And this is no small feat. Now, when it comes to his durability, Spider-Man has, you know, went toe-to-toe with a Juggernaut version, a hybrid version of the Sin Eater, and basically did take hits from him and also landed hits on him as well, which, you know, didn't really do anything. But the fact is that he actually took hits from this guy who is, you know, near the power level of the Juggernaut, and the Juggernaut is ridiculous for anyone that doesn't know. He's also taken hits from Doctor Doom as well, and really literally wasn't phased at all. He's took hits from the Tri-Sentinel, another giant robot type thing, and again, wasn't really phased. Now, Spider-Man, I think it needs to be said before we go into his speed factor. People are going to state, you know, how would Spider-Man fare against a ton of, you know, of Eren's Titans? Let's say Spider-Man gets on top of Eren's attack Titan, which I don't know why people think he would go through the back, considering he has webs and he's faster than anything they can pull out. So, you know, logic dictates he'd probably go straight for the head, you know, quoting Thanos right there. But no, Spider-Man has fought multiple dinosaurs at once. He's fought the Sinister Six multiple times throughout different comic runs. I mean, it's one of those things that even if it's not shown in a current run, it's pretty much a fact that he's able to fight multiple opponents. This was shown in Nick Spencer's run when Spider-Man was fighting a ton of jack-o'-lanterns at once and was winning. You know, he was holding his own, I guess you could say. And yeah, now let's jump into his speed, now that we got all that out of the way. Spider-Man's speed, he's speed blitzing, period. Anything Eren and the Titans can dish out, especially the Colossal Titans. Spider-Man Nick Spencer's run was able to dodge multiple gunfire without taking any hits, basically, and was getting worn down eventually, but considering doing this for like minutes, that made sense. And it really wouldn't take that long for Spider-Man to get to the attack Titan's head. Spider-Man's also dodged lightning attacks from Electro multiple times throughout his comic book history. As well, I believe in Nick Spencer's run with the girl Electro as well, or female Electro. He's just that fast. He's able to react to lightning. And this is the one thing that's important, because Titans get tagged by, again, other Titans and even humans wearing ODM maneuvering gear, which is important. They're moving at human speed, maybe slightly faster, and they're able to tag Titans. Spider-Man is moving leagues faster than that, so they're not even going to land a hit. I mean, we have to be really generous to say they're landing even a hit on Spider-Man if he's actually trying. So speed-wise, it's not a contest. And I think the most important thing about this is, would Spider-Man find Zeki, or would he go straight to Eren? Now, Spider-Man is a genius level superhero, and I mean, more than anything, he's going to choose the option that's the highest probability of, you know, giving him success, because he is a scientist and they usually look at things like that. So, he is gonna go to the Attack Titan head. And considering that Titans are getting destroyed, I mean, this is pretty much a fact. Titans are getting damaged by, anti-Titan like cannons or something in season 4. This was in the manga as well. It's canon. There is no way they're hitting with more durability or impact than Spider-Man. He's literally destroying metal with his punches and, literally destroyed someone's jaw with just a punch. I mean, you have to understand how low that distance is between his fist and the person's head, and he literally took their jaw off. And he isn't a cannonball. He's not going multiple miles per hour. So you have to imagine how much force Spider-Man is actually using in his punches when he, lets loose. And considering the Colossal Titans are not human, and the same thing for the Titans as well, there's no reason for Spider-Man to hold it back. So it's pretty much like with the other ones, I believe, a wash. But leave your comment down below. Let me know what you think of Spider-Man's chances are of stopping Eren. Do you think he would go after Eren straight away? And would he let loose on everyone, considering they're not human? But let me know any other feats you have of Spider-Man. Mostly I was going to use Ned Spencer's stuff, but I think the other stuff is important to mention because Spider-Man has been very consistent in his comic book history. And just because something isn't happening in a run doesn't mean he couldn't do it. Because people don't want to write the same stories over and over. I think it's very important to realize about comic books. A lot of writers aren't going to just keep doing the same feats because that would get boring. But it doesn't mean the character couldn't do them in their ongoing run, such as Nick Spencer's Spider-Man. And that's why I put other, stuff from other runs, because I think it's important to understand where Spider-Man as a character is and, where he's coming from. But that's going to be it. Let's jump into the next hero. Batman. Now, this Batman in this suit was able to fight against the likes of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman goes toe-to-toe with Superman most of the time. I'm considering Superman is holding back, but that's not a small feat. And Batman was going toe-to-toe with her in this Justice armor, or Justice Buster. It's a ridiculous armor. Not only this, but Batman utilizes his genius intellect with the Justice Buster and using his own Red Sun energy multiplier amplifier to try to take down Superman, because he knew he had no chance against defeating him. And because of this, this shows us that Batman, let's say if he got wind of the rumbling, or even if the rumbling had just started to begin, he would probably pick the best scenario, best weapon to take on the rumbling and to take down Eren and Yaegar. Now, when it comes to durability, Batman in the Justice Buster was able to tank an entire building, getting toppled on top of him. That's a ridiculous amount of weight, and I'm pretty sure way more than what the Colossal Titan could dish out. And the Colossal Titan is ridiculous, in its weight. And it's been said that that's something that the scouts fear, but there's no way to survive that. Now, considering they're just human, but Batman is too, but with this Justice Buster armor, it gives him the ability to be able to, fight back and really, just destroy the stuff. Now, Superman was being controlled by the Joker in this story arc and basically, was destroying Batman's armor. But again, this is Superman. Superman is ridiculous in his strength and speed. And to, use that as an example why maybe he wouldn't be able to take on Eren is ridiculous. Superman's leads above anything Eren could do, or any of the Titans in the series could do. So I think with the Justice Buster alone, which I do believe Batman would use, there's no way Batman would use his actual body to fight against, Eren and them. He would definitely go with the Justice Buster because this is a huge threat. That or using the Bat Plane or Bat Jet, whatever it's called. I think those are the most likable options of him using in this scenario. And I do believe he would get to Eren's head. Even if he had to look for Zeki, I think Batman, like I said with Iron Man, he's a genius. He would probably have a way or find a way to find Zeki and take him out, and that would literally stop Eren's entire plan at the moment. By what we know, until next chapter comes out, we don't know everything yet, but it seems like it did stop the rumbling. And again, this is Batman. He probably would figure out where Eren's at, and Eren ain't moving that fast compared to a jet plane, a bat plane, or even his Justice Buster probably can move pretty fast. or his Batmobile, you know, or his Bat Submarine if he had to use it. I have no idea like where the Bat Submarine is, if that's actually the Batmobile or not. Can't remember how it is in the comics. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Batman has like something for everything. But I didn't want to just say that. You know, I wanted to give examples of what he could actually use to take on the Rumbling, to take Eren down, and Zeki. I didn't want to make this saying, you know, oh, he's Batman. Nah, Batman has tons of arsenal to take on something like the Rumbling. And considering he took on the Justice League, who are all far above Eren in power and speed and just anything, you know, in general, yeah, it's not a contest. But yeah, so that's it for Batman. Let's jump into our final hero so we can finish off this video. So this is the last hero we're going to be talking about. I wouldn't save him for last because I feel like it's pretty much a given that he'd be able to take down Eren, and I wanted the rest of the beginning of the video to be more interesting and kind of like hook y'all in. So I felt like if I started with Superman, I mean, of course he can stop the Rumbling. So yeah, I wanted to get all the interesting, you know, factors out of the way first. People that, you know, really could have a chance of losing to Eren in a way. But yeah, Superman, it's a no-go. You know, Superman is literally watching the entire Attack on Titan Rumbling event. But I want to give the reasons why, because a lot of people don't read Superman comics, and we're going to be using New 52 Superman to kind of explain this and show why this version would defeat Eren's Rumbling event. So yeah, first thing we need to talk about is Superman's power. Now, Superman is ridiculous and straight. I don't think this needs to be, you know, emphasized. I mean, he's ridiculous. Superman is able to fight against people like Darkseid, Doomsday, Brainiac. From a power standpoint, I mean, there's really nothing that the Titans could do to actually damage him, you know, from durability standpoint, and they're not taking hits from Superman, to be honest. But yeah, so let's talk about his power. So Superman basically was able to stop an entire, you know, like space station from falling from space. Basically, like, he stopped the impact from hitting the Earth. And yeah, it's pretty crazy considering the amount of speed that, you know, occurs when you're falling from space. Again, the amount of weight force would be, you know, unlike anything that the Lost Titans could even possibly do, or any Titan could possibly do. Not only that, but he also took a hit from Mondle Jr., you know, the kid of Mondle, the son, that was, you know, kind of like aimed at Metropolis, aiming to destroy it, and Superman just got up from it like it was nothing. Superman also was able to, you know, bench lift basically the weight of the Earth for 5 days without a sweat, which shows, again, he would literally be able to lift any Colossus Titan or any Titan in general and get them out of the way to be able to attack Eren's Attack Titan or find Zeki. Which will explain that it's literally probably the most easiest thing out of all the 5 characters. Superman's definitely finding both of them. Now we get to see that Superman also is so strong that he's able to basically, you know, use his heat vision and also his cold breath to knock these mine workers basically out of the way. Basically tells them that he's creating a gust of wind that will travel them and send them 3 miles from his current location. So if you were wondering how would the Colossus Titans, maybe they all gained up on Superman, would they be able to stop him from getting to Eren, or even the Titans on top of Eren? No, it ain't happening. You know, I mean, considering Superman can fly, it wouldn't matter anyway. But yeah, he'll be able to just use this gust of wind to get them all out of the way. Now, Superman also, from a power standpoint, can use his heat vision in multiple blasts and literally destroy the nades of multiple Colossal Titans at once if he needed to battle. So again, not really a contest. Now, Superman basically was able to tank a hit that sent him all the way to Ireland or in Europe, and basically was able to, you know, he was in America, basically in Metropolis, took a hit that took him all the way to Ireland, and he was completely okay. So yeah, again, Colossal Titans ain't doing nothing to him. Now, Superman was able to hit something so hard, this huge creature, so hard that he was able to, you know, knock him all the way out of sight. You know how ridiculous amount of miles that had to have been? Not only that, but Superman was also able to hit someone like Lobo, even though this was a young Lobo, into space with a single punch. Again, he would be able to do this with multiple Titans, colossal or regular Titans. Yeah, and it just isn't happening. Now, let's talk about Superman's speed. This is where it gets ridiculous, because I think this is the biggest reason why Eren's getting clapped, basically. And the reason is simple. Superman's speed is ridiculous. Superman, when he first comes onto the scene in the New 52 universe, basically tags the Flash. The Flash is a ridiculous amount of speed. He's able to speed himself through time. So yeah, being able to tag that is ridiculous. Superman's also able to fight against Doomsday and fly him all the way to, I think it's Venus, and then come back to Earth in the matter of seconds, or a sentence, I guess you could say, that the side people were talking to. And yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of time. At most, a sentence is like 8 seconds, 10 seconds, and Superman went to Venus and back. So yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of time. The most ridiculous feat, I think, when it comes to speed, has to do when Superman circled the Earth pretty much at 1,000 miles per second. It's not happening, guys. Like, there's no way Eren's tagging Superman with anything, be it the Titans on his back, be it the Colossal Titans. It's not happening. Superman is speed blitzing Eren and Zeki, and it's not even close. Superman, like I said, is ridiculously fast character. He's able to keep up with the Flash when they're dodging Darkseid's Omega beams, which erase you if they hit you. A durability feat to mention is that Superman did get hit by this Omega beam, and it did not kill him or erase him, even though it's supposed to erase you if it hits you. This has been shown to happen multiple times in continuity in the New 52 and also in other Superman runs, just like given fact that Superman can take an Omega beam. Now, Superman also has moved so fast around a planet that he was able to move it and actually get it to go into the Phantom Zone, which is a ridiculous speed feat as well. I believe he did it with his speed and not his strength, so I'm not going to say it's a strength feat, it's a speed feat. So yeah. Now we get to see, guys, that, there's also a part where people are asking, well, how fast can Superman attack? And this guy basically tells him that he's, not faster than a speeding bullet, or, what's faster than a speeding bullet? And Superman says, I'll raise you light. And he uses his heat vision in light speed, basically, which shows that not only can he do multiple attacks with his heat vision, but he can also move them at the speed of light, which again is leads above, what the Titans could even imagine doing to Superman. And I think that pretty much just rests the case, guys. It's ridiculous what Superman's able to do. He's able to catch an entire, satellite. I believe it's the Watchtower in space when it's falling to Earth. Again, showing that he can lift any attack Titan or Colossal Titan, or even Zeki himself. And yeah, but right here, I want to, talk about the most, impressive thing that I think would literally just finish it for, what do you call it? Zeki and Eren. And that is Superman's super hearing. Now, Superman was able to hear the heartbeats, beneath the whine of the hydraulics, basically. And I'm here to protect, not to provoke, as he says. Superman is hearing the heartbeats of people, basically. That these are war machines controlled by human pilots, but Superman can still hear inside the metal. This proves, this is metal, guys. This isn't flesh like the Titans are. That means that Superman, even through bone, he would be able to hear through the spine of Eren where Zeki's at and take him out. Now, would Superman take him out? Nah, of course not. What he would probably do is take him into space or do something, go around him and take the oxygen out to knock him out. Or, just, flinch basically on him and knock him out, not Zeki out, or knock Eren out. Because Eren, legit, he would know Eren is in the head of the attack Titan, or wherever Eren's at, he would be able to hear the heartbeat. I think this is the most, proving evidence that Superman, it's a wash, period. I don't think there's any argument you can make that Superman doesn't solo the entire rumbling event in the first few minutes. It's not going to even last an hour with Superman fighting against it. And I think that's going to be it, guys. That was sort of the 5 heroes that I think could take on and defeat Eren and Zeki's, well, it's more like Eren's rumbling event. And yeah, I thought this would make a pretty interesting video. I had the idea for this video a long time ago, but I'm glad I waited because a lot more stuff has came out with the rumbling. I think that if I had made it a few months back, it would have been very incomplete. So I'm glad I waited, and we'll see what happens with Eren and the rumbling when the new chapter drops of Attack on Titan. And maybe I'll leave a comment down below, like a pinned comment saying, you know what I thought of the chapter, and also, how I think that affects this video. But as like I said, I even put in the possibility for most of these cases for Eren still being alive somewhere else, and why that really wouldn't affect the outcome of the match, or the scenario. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you do enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and share it on Twitter. I'm really trying to grow the channel. I'm a comic review channel that reviews trade paperbacks on the channel. I'm a story reviewer. I don't really do versus matchups, but I do want to do some that I find interesting. And if you guys enjoy it, I mean, why not make more? Pitting anime and manga versus comics, or maybe comic versus comic characters. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But that's gonna be it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you want more. And yeah, don't be afraid to disagree in the comments down below. I encourage discussion, and I want to see you guys and your opinions, and let's talk about who would win in this scenario. Do you think Eren will win? Let me know why. But till next time, guys, God bless you. Until the next lesson, keep on reading those comments.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity, so I could see how